over this whole week. Many see a U.S. hand behind this coup, as your mother had a troubled relationship with the U.S. of sorts in the past few years. Now, even the Russians said that the United States used its resources to overthrow your mother's administration. I'd like to get your perspective. What is your sense of this whole situation and where the U.S. stands in this whole plot?
Well, I mean, was the U.S. directly involved? I don't know. I have no evidence. But if you look at the situation, the protests, the protests were incited and inflamed every step of the way. When the protests first started, they were peaceful. Our police were guarding them. And the protest wasn't against the government action. Our government had reduced quotas years ago when there was the first round of protests against quotas. The quotas were reinstated by the courts due to a case. And our government had filed an appeal against that. That means our government was fighting the quotas, and it was going to fight the quotas in the Supreme Court. We were just waiting for the Supreme Court to hear it. And then, at that point, someone took a statement of my mother and twisted it online and spread it tremendously online, which is she had said that we don't want families of Rajakars getting government jobs. Now, they twisted that into my mother calling the protesters Rajakars, which she never did. So clearly, some agency was very, very active online in using social media to inflame the situation. Then, on the night of July 15th, when our government had appealed to the Supreme Court, when our government had announced that we want the quotas to be rescinded, then someone started marching at Dhaka University in the middle of the night, chanting, "We are Rajakar, we are Rajakar." To understand that would be of someone marching in Jerusalem in the middle of the night, chanting, "We are Nazis, we are Nazis." This inflamed our student activists. Our student activists attacked the protesters. The police stepped in to try to stop the violence. Some police members used excessive force. Our government immediately told our student activists, our Bangladesh Chhatra League, to back down, not to fight, and the violence was stopped. We formed a judicial commission, a 3-member judicial commission to investigate the deaths, and we suspended all the police officers that used excessive force. So our government did everything to quell the violence. The violence was never ordered by our government. The violence was instigated by some unknown party, specifically in the middle of the night, chanting, "We are Rajakar, we are Rajakar." This was done deliberately. And then, that didn't stop there. Then the protesters started attacking the police, and they didn't just attack, they were armed with firearms. Now, where did these protesters get firearms? You can only a foreign intelligence service can supply firearms in a country.
So you're trying to say it is an outside intelligence agency that has instigated this or supported this?
I am that it has instigated it and supported it. I am convinced. Yes.
So you don't have evidence that the U.S. did it, but you definitely think that it is something from the Western side?
Well, I don't know if it's the Western side, but if you look who these protesters have selected, Dr. Yunus, he's a darling of the West. They've been championing him. They've been trying to get him into politics for decades now. So who else? I mean, if the West, and they were the first to congratulate his government and support it. So I think they're making it quite obvious that they probably had some involvement in this whole matter.
Right. So now, your mother publicly did